Okay, and we're finally underway for the greatest match of Counter-Strike ever seen by humankind. For some reason, I can't auto-tab to POVs 0 and 6, but you know what? That's just going to have to be okay. We are finally here underway for the on-company time 5 versus 5 that sees Lin Vision's dream starting here on the offensive side. And we look at Ragged Tadpole taking off the start. It looks to be a pretty heavy B-lean right out of the gates.
Yes,
they do knife the TV. And the Glocks in hand coming forwards as it looks as though Steely Glint is the defender to be tested. Single player on short. We look to the defense. Sees one, sees two, sees three. Flub leaning from market. Glint on the reload. Flub is dropped by the Tadpole. And with that, we are already looking now. This is a game that Tadpole has really taken into his own hands. And we see Steely Glint on the rotation. But to be honest, it's looking like it's pretty hard for any... Okay, and with that, Tadpole gets up to 3, and it leaves just Archery Zealot left in the 1v5, and it does look like he is going to be taking us into our first round save. Which, I suppose, is never how you really want to see the first round ending if you're the CT side.
Yes,
especially the bomb plant going down. Their economy is going to be really in shambles already off the first round, unless Archery Zealot can pick up a single frag on the way out here, but no, will go down. And with I should probably turn off chat. Whatever, I'm leaving it on. And with that, the game does get into that second round. I don't know why my auto director isn't working.
I don't know why the CT side are buying FAMASs and Scout. Actually, well,
but
I know
we're gonna look.
Scout.
We're gonna look over here at this POV, and it does look as though the force buy is gonna come in from the CT side. We got 357s, a Scout, and an FA mass, and it does look as though looking down the mid lane, it's gonna be just vibing down, holding mid, and the full mid explode is coming in from the terrorist side. Ragged Tadpole leading the charge, Galil in hand. But this setup is so mid heavy. 2 connector players, 1 in ladder and 1 looking in from short. Even with the lesser guns, makes you wonder how they really are going to be able to contest this position. But we got Cynical looking to take some space with the Galil, gets his first frag onto Z. And with that, the double short put, and the spray is messy, but Cynical will close it out in the end, looking for a 4th on the round. Archery Zealot with the FAMAS behind, picks up 2 though, is shut down eventually, and it all falls in to Dan versus PageKey in the 1 versus 1. The Galil versus 5-7, and can you believe it? The light buy comes in clutch for Bapu's Lesbians. What an incredible way to close out the second round of play. And with that, it does look as though it's now going to be the full investment coming in from the counter-terrorist side. Though they are a little light on utility. They've opted for those upgraded rifles instead of the utility. Steely Glint does eventually pick up a rifle. And now it's looking like it's going to have to be another light buy from the terrorist side. But they're looking for an A-site lean. But it makes you wonder, with this Mach 10 on point, how much space are they really going to be able to take right out of the gates? They've shown no map presence in mid. And when you look at that, Steely Glint is just not worried. But we see the Mach 10 making its way out onto the bomb site. But Archery Zealot is right there. And Z's there with the crossfire. There's not a lot to it at this point. Archery Zealot in position. 4 men leaning towards the stairs side. PageKey will get one back with the Deagle. And 8-Bit Ice does pick one up with the Glock. But we're looking now at a really hard round to win with just the 2 Glocks. This one's as good as over.
15 health between them. There's not a Desert Eagle in his hands. It's over for 8-Bit Ice, and we close out the 3rd round on the CT side. Very interesting seeing as how that first round went.
And with that, we're already starting to look at the economy slightly running away for the CT side. The T side are kind of shambling around. Where are they actually going to get their guns from? As I try and pan over to Captain Cynical to see that nice little purple combination, it looks like he's just sat in spawn having a chat with the troops. Not a lot to say here. Again, a really standard setup out of the CT side. They're just going to put 3 over towards the A-Lane. A bit heavy on the A-Lane as we look over at Flub Agus just solo holding down this B bomb site with the Galil in his hands. But it does look as though the attack is coming towards the A site. The IGL for Team Bapu's Lesbians has made the right read here, brought the troops over. But the question is, with that A hit coming in, the slow smoke, Steely Glint will find the first one over the smoke. Z just spamming through the smoke, and it's another easy pickup for Steely Glint. 935 on the stat track briefing, and we see the bomb actually collected by Ragged Tadpole. Are they going to keep going into this heavy setup? It looks like they will, as Steely Glint jumping straight forwards, aggressing into the pit, but it does look as though Vibe and Danny is right there, got it all covered. Nothing to worry about there. That's a nice clean way back into the game there.
We are seeing a very high
$11,000 on Dan. And when you look at that, just compared to the rest of the economy on this T side, like, they have managed to bring the AWP out on PageKey, and that is going to be one to watch as we look over towards the other side of the map, and we're looking for that PageKey orb. Can it find impact? It's leaning towards middle with Captain Cynical on the opener, and there's no mid presence from the CTs on this round, but they've read it again. They've put 3 on the B site, looking towards the bomb, and even though all of this mid space has been taken, and you have to wonder, are Cynical and PageKey going to be calling the troops back, looking for a stronger setup as the fight breaks out, but it does look as though it's going to go the way of Dan, and the orb shot is slow. Z leans into the angle and takes a head off with the M4. And this setup, okay, but another quick back from Nim, and the site is lost. Over on the other side of the map, the B site has gone down, and the Tadpole brings it up into a 3 versus 3. And suddenly we've got a round on our hand, and the CTs are scrambling. They're in mid, they're in T spawn. And they're going to have to be really worried about the time on this one. Z and Steely Glint, the only ones with the kits in hand. And that is going to be Steely Glint leaning in from the market, and the shoulder is seen by Tadpole. And the flash now is baited, but the spray is bad. Oh, the spray is a disaster. But the double from Tadpole, he comes up big, and he's left in a 1 versus 1. But does he know? No, he doesn't. The Zealot, and he does have the kit, but does he know? Does he know where the bomb is? Is this round too far gone?
It's gonna be a button nail biter on this one.
I think the time just about does come in, and the Zealot will get the defuse right at the last moment. We were on the edge of our seats with that one. Great heavens, what a game of Counter-Strike this is shaping up to be. And we do look as though we have a pretty heavy underdog now going into this round. It looks as though it is going to be pretty hard for that attacking team to step up to the mark. Tadpole is currently spearheading the way on 6 kills, 556 ADR inside of the game, but it's just they're really struggling to break into these bomb sites. They're not really leaning into their mid control. Cynical does take that opening contact, and it does give a bit of information over to the CTs that there is this mid presence. And with that, we do start to see Steely Glint and Z leaning in from connector and short respectively, and honestly in the mid position. Danny just opens up with the A1S, sits them on their asses. It's tough. It's a tough thing to play in this type of situation. It's a really hard game to bring back in. But it does look as though Cynical actually, was that the double opener from him while I wasn't looking? He's just taken the A bomb site into his own hands. But is he ready? Is he ready for the CT play to come in? I don't know if he is. He does pick up the spray down to Steely Glint. And with that, he's looking for the 4K. It's Danny in a 1v3 now with the M4 in hand. And they're both low. This could be finally a second round going the way of the offensive side. Captain Cynical stood up and delivered. Took the A bomb site into his own possession, inspects his knife, looks for the jump up, doesn't quite hit it, but it looks like they're just trailing into the B bomb site at this point in time. Really, not a whole lot to say here. As we look at the Tadpole taking the space, and he saw his shoulder, and that's the spray. The Tadpole is not quite going to be the full piece for Cynical, but what a round out of the young IGL for this Linvision's Dream side. You can feel the passion in the way he plays the game. You can feel that he wants this. He wants these sand dunes. He wants that prize on the line. And he is setting up his team for success right now. But the money, so good on the CT side of things. You really just wonder how they're going to be able to break back into this game as the terrorist attack. Cynical setting up the CT smoke. But is it a bit of a fake? It looks as though they've left 2 over towards the A site. That smoke might start to draw a rotation out of the window player, but in reality, 3 of them are leaning over towards the B site. But look, on the counter-terrorist side of things, he finds the kill onto PageKey, and they're starting to go looking now. The penny is starting to drop that the A site might just not be the target, and the B site might be the final task. We can see the aggression coming in. It's all about flub in this cold Zera position. Although, as I say that, we do now see Dan rotating in. But this underpass position now, Steely Glint's got it locked down. But that information, Captain Cynical breaks the round open, not worried about underpass at all. And he gets the low, but doesn't quite have the positioning for it. Steely Glint now looking in from underpass, and it's all just on 8-bit ice now with the Glock. Does he even know about the underpass play? No.
He does not. And
it's tough. It's tough to watch, but really, what can you do in this kind of situation? It's a hard situation to be in, and the money is just so good on the CT side of things. If you want to be breaking back into this one, it is going to have to be off the back of these 2-star rifles now. To be honest, the Deagle's coming in, and the rifle is going to be saved, and it's going to be going over to Cynical, and the flame coming in the all chat. You can just see there's a lot of vitriol. There's a storied rivalry between these teams. Cynical just runs backwards onto the bomb site, but he's looking for the kill, and he's going to find it, and the AWP goes down. And now we've got a round of Counter-Strike on our hands, and he's gone away with the AWP. Oh my god. Oh my god, and Cynical picks up Z as well. You can't. Not like this. Not like this in a round of Counter-Strike. But is he expecting the player to be so close? And the missed shot rings out from the AWP, but PageKey's Deagle does find one as Captain Cynical and Dan will pick up the kill with the M4. Lead us in a 2v2. The PageKey Deagle picks up another, and it's just Nim left, and it's so close, but the Steely Glint flank just does come in at the last second and leaves us in a really dire situation here. This is... oh. But the situation we find ourselves in now, I mean, how do you even start putting together rounds like this? The streaks, it's looking tough. It's looking like, I mean, this could be a quick 2-map affair. Are we just going to go straight to Inferno? Is it really going to end in just 2? I mean, unless they've got something big brewing now, but maybe it's just that the defensive side doesn't have a lot brewing. The attack does start to brew off. It's a pretty heavy alien already, but the B defenders this time already starting to lean over, and they've taken the mid space. There's just no contest. And you start to wonder, how are the CTs going to piece this round together? It does look as though the Bapu's lesbian side have already started to get the read. And Z's spray is good onto Cynical. Does hit the head. Does go down, though, to the 8-bit Ice AK. As the Nim P90 picks up another. And 8-bit Ice and PageKey are the two left on the attacking side. They've got a minute 13 on the clock to piece this one together. And the two players in mid just getting confirmation that there's no one there as they start their lean up through connector. But the bomb is still down in ramp. And it makes you think, how on earth are they going to open this up? The AWP shot doesn't even fire off. But the shot from PageKey's good. The shot from PageKey does find the head, but vibing down on the AWP is just picking this one up. And you have to think in this kind of situation, 8-bit Ice on for the clutch. Where's your opportunity? Come on, son. Put this round together. You can do it. From the middle of the scoreboard, there's potential here, but this is looking like a pretty one-sided affair so far. And is round number 9 really going to be the change in pace that we've been looking and hoping for out of these players? Oh, saw him. The AK rings out, but now the AWP is just posted up on the angle, and that's just as easy as you like it. 15-4 inside of the server right now. Honestly, tearing them a new one. This is a game of one player versus another right now. Dan versus Captain Cynical. The ADR tells the story, and honestly, the supporting pieces of that counter-terrorist team are really what is making it so hard for the attackers to break into a bomb site. But it does look as though we're going to get a bit of a different look out of the team this time. Ragged Tadpole looking for the open as Dan that is absolutely disgusting.
All the way back
right off from the start. Oh, and the second lean out.
Oh.
And it just makes you wonder. It just makes you think. But this angle from Ragged Tadpole might be able to pick up another little situation. The lean out from underpass, where's the space? And they're starting to think now, you'd have to think on the terrorist side, where's our way into the bomb sites? We see the setup now from the CTs just swarming the map, but Tadpole's hearing this. Tadpole has to be hearing this, has to have heard, calling out to the boys over on A, fellas, we've just heard 2 come through connector. The question is, when's it going to drop for 8-bit Ice that they can go B? The full setup has dropped open, and Ragged Tadpole does find one here, but is it being communicated from stairs? That's 2 out of the Tadpole. The question is, have they pieced together that with all those defenders looking that way, the B site's open, the B site's wide open, they can just walk on? There are no defenders. The question is, will the bomb go down as the AWP starts to get an idea now, starts to look back over towards mid, as we start to think to ourselves, okay, is this actually a bit of a round that we've got on our hands here? 8-Bit Ice creeping slowly into the bomb site, but the AWP's coming over. The AWP's coming over. Is it going to be there in time? And the shot doesn't ring out, but the shoulder is seen. Is he going to sit on the line? One Molotov to play with here on the terrorist side. But is that AWP just going to walk out and just take their heads off? But the headshot out of 8-Bit Ice is good. But the flank is fast. Flub is fast on the flank. And this makes you wonder, how quick are they going to put that bomb down, punch in those digits? 7355608. And it does look as though it's 8-Bit Ice just left in the 1v2. Finds one and finds them both. That is the clutch of a century. 5 versus 2 in that situation. And 8-Bit Ice puts the round together. What a round. You have to think, if the comeback is going to start, it's got to be now. It has to be now. The full all-in onto this round with the AWP on page key. Where are they going to send this sniper rifle? It does make you wonder. The AWP has been swapped over now, and we do see it actually in the hands of Nim. But it makes you think, is Dan just going to be there on this mid play so fast as they have been every round? But now, with 2 players posted up on the mid line, is there actually a bit of a round starting to take shape here? A bit of a contest. The shot rings out from Nim, and that is Dan down, and that is a big piece to take off the board. And you have to think you're pretty happy with that one if you're the Lin Vision Spirit side of things. And Ragged Tadpole has just absolutely flown up underpass, taken this mid control away, absolutely. And with that kill from 8-Bit Ice, they are just being suffocated out of the round right now. Z does answer back with a quick one on the M4 though, putting us in this 4v3 situation, and the Zealot does take one on main. And that was the late piece. The question is now, your 3 players are stuck in mid. How do you find your way out of this one? Is the AWP going to ring out? Page does find one. That's a nice lean into connector. And now these 2 players, they're isolated on the extremities. Whichever way the terrorist side chooses to go, they're going to have a 1v3 on one of these bomb sites. But the question is, who's hearing those steps? Are they being heard on the short position, or are they being heard by page key down and underpass? Are they getting the idea now that this player has leaned away from the B site, but the line is there. The line is there, and it falls to CD Glint again now with the AWP. Can she do it all? 1 versus 3, but the underpass flank is quick already. The position is amazing, and the Zealot is on the flank. This might just be the undoing.
To the AUG.
This might be the end of the round right here, but they're forward. They're forward. They're in front of it. 8-Bit Ice punching in those digits, and we see the setup, and Page does find another one with the AK-47. Just putting Zealot in this 2 versus 1 for the clutch. Doesn't opt to go for the save. Leans into the bomb site. Thinks, I'm close enough in. I can start making a round out of this. And even with that crosshair, does start to think, and finds the angle. Finds the position. And Page goes down.
First.
And the steps are heard. The steps are heard, and it's just a 1 versus 1 now. That's all there is to it. And the audio's there, and the clutch comes in, and the Zealot is that gonna just break the economy, sit the attacking team right down? And despite that amazing opener out of Nim with the AWP in the middle position, I mean, you can see the little wiggle of the mouse, the little dance of joy. You can tell how much that means. They've broken this game right open, and it's right there for the taking. You've got to wonder, are they already just thinking about Inferno? I mean, the loss bonus is starting to build up, and they have managed to get another AW out on the attacking side, but is it just a bit too little too late at this point? I mean,
AWPs on the P side is a very interesting strategy. From
you do think, and Z is just going to take down Cynical. The push doesn't yield anything. All it does is give up the information, but at this point of the game, this is, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. Page on the AWP though, and as we look again over, the Tadpole does manage to find one up in the apartment's position. That's a good find. And that's the Zealot going down, and the Zealot is the second on the scoreboard right now, chipping in terms of damage, but Clint's going to pick up another. But Page does take one down with the AW, getting over eager on the push, and now the mid control. And you've got to think, are the counter-terrorists even worried about this? Caught fumbling with nades, and the spray is good. The Tadpole finds one, and the AWP rings out, and now they know. Now they've got the information. But Flood picks up the shot. And the jump across is good from Tadpole. Baits out the AWP shot, pulls out the molly, tosses it in, and they've got the bomb. Are they going to just go for the plant here? Just stick it, force the CTs into defensive positions. And between 8-Bit and the Tadpole, but he's not even considering short. He's not even considering that there might be a short player. Seen him now. Seen the shoulder. Seen the shoulder. Not worrying about cover. Just backing his aim. Seen him in the moment. but 2 snipers on the field and the position is known, and you just got to wonder, how do you even put this one together? 1 versus 2 on the defense. They got all the time, all the nades in the world. And with that, they have swapped over to the M4 as well. And with that, the 2 players on the screen, and it won't quite come through as Dan does pick up another, puts them into the dirt. And with that, you really just have to wonder, is this game just sliding away? 9-3 on the half. It's a hard one now. It's a hard one to bring together at this point. But the question is, now that we swap those sides over, are the terrorist plans going to be as good as the ones that they've had on the defensive side? Because this type of play, this type of really system counter-strike that we've been seeing out of the counter-terrorist side, is it going to translate to a nice, fast, calculated offense? Or are we going to end up with just these all-in force pushes, looking for the space without even bothering to cover your extremities? But this 3B setup is really interesting, and we do see them start to push the short position. Cynical employing a bit of a classic, but the full mid-run is just coming in, and the head is taken off immediately. Oh my gosh, you hate to watch it, but Z just picks up a double there, and that cracks the round wide open. 5 shots into the back, but the USP at that range without the headshot is just tickling through the Kev. But as I speak, the Tadpole does actually pick one up, and that is starting to put us into a bit of a situation. 12 and 11 on the Tadpole, trying to make this game his own, but really, can anyone stand up to the dynamic duo of Dan and Steely Glint on this server? This is looking like a game that is just going to end before it even gets going. It's looking like a game that's really got nowhere to lean into, as frankly, we're starting to see a bit of a collapse. And we have to start thinking, okay, where are our players going to now find the space? We need to see an idea out of the counter-terrorist team, and we need to see it now. We need to see something happen, and we have got that investment, so they are going to play now for the win without looking for the investment. On that next round, which would be in round number 15, they're going to say round 14 is our round. They're looking for the MP9s, and the flash into main is going to... Is it going to catch that shotgun? It does look as though it almost does. And the play is good. He finds one, and Cynical does get the fadeaway. And it's just Glint left on the MP5. And this MP9 is putting up so much work right now. And the Deagle behind it, they're just putting in the numbers. And is it going to be enough? Archery Zealot goes down. The AK over to Captain Cynical's hands. And that's the kind of decisive, forward, action play that we like to see out of a counter-terrorist team that is really trying to make this game of Counter-Strike look like a comeback. They are really saying, look, okay, you've had the pace advantage in the first half, but, and it always does seem to do this, doesn't it? It always seems to fall to Danny on the Deagle. And with that, it just makes you think the shot is almost good, but it's not quite there. And the MP9 will just run them down. And we do find ourselves now in a situation where, slowly but surely, when we look at the ADR on this side of things, Captain Cynical is starting to put together a bit of a game here, even if Dan is having a bit of a life game at this point. But that's
interesting enough.
Not what we were expecting at all. But with that, it does look as though this round, the round does seem to be live. And with that, it does look as though it's going to be a 4v5 out of spawn, which leaves us in a bit of a questionable situation. Captain Cynical again looking for this aggression, but it is going to leave the A site a little bit undefended as we watch Nim lean over, looking for that mid presence, and we find ourselves struggling now. It is Cynical to be tested. The flash comes in, only partially blinded. He's got his AK teed up on the line. Is this going to be hard cleared? No, it's not. And the spray. Oh, but the spray isn't good. He goes down with only one. He needed more than one there. Flood picks up one on the scout. And this round, as quickly as it started, does seem to be leaning down the other way. And we're starting to look, these 3 CTs leaning in from connector. Where's the space going to be? Nim looks for the spray. The scout shot will go wide. One is seen at Fireboss, but Flood. That is disgusting. That is just, you can't be doing that. The blood in the water, and in this moment, Flood is tasting blood in the water and is looking for a round that just, it was never meant to go this way. It was never meant to go over to the attacking team, but it's just Tadpole left now, and with his M4 in hand and his body shot to the scout, and Steely Glint just walking up on the left, will perfectly slide out, trade out Flood.
It was starting to look good for the LVD team, but
dude,
after that one,
it makes you think. It makes you think. It makes you think. How is this game even gonna be competitive? But honestly, honestly, we're starting to get to a point. The money is honestly pretty good out of the counter-terrorist side, thanks to them winning that force on the second. Even though they lose, they do manage to get out 3 rifles, 2 MP9s, and a decent belt of utility on Captain Cynical's side, but this time it is the full B-lean, and it's just Tadpole with his MP9. Actually, I speak a little too soon. 8-Bit Ice teed up, and we do hear the steps running straight in, but is 8-Bit Ice going to be in position? Is he going to have the angle? Is he? And the shots are good. Tadpole now left alone on the site, and Z quick with the trade. But the underpass play is good, but the Zealot almost messes up the spray, and it just falls to Page now, AUG in hand, to piece this round together. Or so I say. Captain Cynical teed up for the 1v3, AK in hand, he's got the first. Go ahead, son, take your time. Take your time, son! Oh, but Steely Glint will put us on match point, and with that, Inferno seems almost a guarantee at this point. It does look as though we're going to need it. But frankly, I'm worried it's going to be a similar affair. This CT side has barely even had time to get rolling. I mean, what, we've had 4 rounds of this defense, and the defense setup just is not actually bringing this game together. And it makes you start to wonder, how is the game going to shape up? I mean, this force that has been Vibe and Danny has just absolutely been tearing this game in half, and it does not seem as though that is going to stop anytime soon, as Flub Agus already looking for more in mid with the scout, but this defensive position from 8-Bit Ice, the MP9 just not going to do its best work at that range. But this is a game that is shaping up to be so tough for the defensive team. They would need 8 to even force overtime, and that mid push is not going to yield anything. Carrigan-esque, one might say, but the calling has not been on a Carrigan level this game. And Danny teed up with the AK, the wallbang headshot makes it look easy, puts Tadpole in the dirt, just a few clicks of the mouse away from Inferno at this point in time. And you just have to be in this situation. If you're the counter-terrorist, you have to be thinking, look, Mirage wasn't our map, but are we going to be able to bring it back on Inferno? And you've got to say to yourself, I mean, they looked for B, but they've just swarmed all the way back over to the A site. But the defense now, looking for the angle. The spray from Cynical, it's almost good, but he doesn't know about the MP9 nerfs, and the spray is not going to find anyone. Finally does put Z into the dirt, but the Zealot will finally clinch the map, and that means we are going to Inferno.
And now to figure out how that's gonna work with 8-Bit Ice. Oh, hold on, give me a second. Oh, we'll figure it out.
Okay. Well, with that has been a whole kind of game that we've just had unfolding before us. But honestly, it's hard to imagine how that could have gone a lot worse for the defensive team here, as I wait for my co-commentator to finish sorting out the logistics. And really, we're starting to look now at how's the Inferno going to shape up. And what the fuck? Why has he joined terrorists? I was not expecting that. And with that, we are moving over now to Inferno. The question is, are we going to be on casual or competitive? As I really hope that my co-creators have managed to sort this one out and get the game up and running so that we're just looking at that really correct way of playing the game. And it does look as though we have managed to make it onto the right setup.
I'm afraid Captain's... Oh, apparently I've been subbed out for some reason. Okay, there we go. That's much better.
Not how it works.
Captain Cynical was desperately pleading for me to join their team, I'm afraid, but...
that's not how it works.
That's not how it goes. I'm afraid they're just going to have to pull out this win themselves.
I mean, we could make a little adjustment to the balance of the team. This is starting to look quite rough, and I am starting to wonder if perhaps taking Steely Glint and placing Steely Glint on the other team in exchange for Page Key might make the match a little more fair. Quite a lot to think about.
Let's consult with our players.
I think we're actually just going to enforce that one for the sake of game
balance. Maybe we should.
I think we're just going to say that is the way that this game is shaping up. So, would you like to go and inform the players?
I'll go break the news.
Go and break the news to Steely Glint first, yeah. And with that, we are shaping up for a nice little game of Inferno. This map, known to be a lot more aim-focused, is Danny going to be able to just take things into their own hands now, with Inferno being the map of the day? I mean, we've got a lot going on here. This could be an absolutely beautiful game. The question, as always, just seems to be, which way is it all gonna go? Now that the game is in the hands of, well, with these little adjustments to the team balance, we're starting to look at a little bit more of a situation where the round seems to be live. I'm not sure what my co-commentator is doing, as the round is underway with only a single defender on B. And that shot out of Nim and Cynical is just going to take the round by force, it seems. Maybe they don't even need it. What's the call from the players, my good sir?
They're rioting. We're actually I've actually been met with death threats, so... Ooh.
Well, the question is, what's the answer going to be from the players? Is this round live, and are we going into Inferno with these teams?
That is a great question. I think we'll have to talk to the other team first.
Which is the other team in this situation?
It was Bapu's lesbians that threatened me with going to my house. So,
I think you're going to need to go and have a word with the other team. Ask them if they want the swap.
Yes.
If they want the swap, we'll restart the game with the players swapped. Otherwise, I think we're just going to play on from live, because that first round seemed to go the way of Lin Vision's dream quite comfortably.
Yes,
so you come back to me with a word, and you have a few moments only, because this round is already underway, and I don't like casting alone. And so with that, we are now starting to think, how's this round going to shape up? It's a very standard 3 on the CT side of things, as they are just barreling up mid, and Steely Glint, Mac 10 in hand, is just bombing onto the bomb site. The MP and the API just put the team kill down on PageKey. The bomb site is open. It really makes you wonder, how are they going to be able to turn this round in this 4v4 situation?
It seems they've had a change of heart, and Lin Vision's dream is determined to lock in. But
to lock in and win with this roster, well, that is the kind of determination that we like to see. But right now, it's not looking good, as already this round is just starting to slip away from them. I am getting some very strange visual bugs. And with that, it's just Cynical left in the 1v3. Will he be able to stand up and take this team to victory on Inferno? He is known to be a good Inferno player, and the way that he calls and plays these games can be a thing of beauty to watch. But frankly, it's going to take a lot more than just that to turn this game around, because with just that saved MP9 going into the next, I mean, the M4 dropped over to PageKey, but we're starting to really have to have a serious conversation about the finances on the CT side, and that's only 2 rounds into Inferno. I mean, it's really difficult to imagine this game shaping up any that much differently to Mirage. I mean, the absolute aim force that is vibing Danny inside of the server right now, it's going to have to be so much out of Captain Cynical to turn this Inferno into a victory. But as I say that, as I do say that, to be fair, we are starting to look at a nice little setup out of the T side, and they start to be leaning in towards the B side. And with that underway, and the game won't let me spectate Vibe and Dan for some reason. Okay.
The two-headed dragon from Ragged Tadpole and Nim facing down the maw of Team Bapu and his lesbians.
And honestly, in this type of situation, with just a Tadpole left on the site with a PT50, I mean, the clear is not good and the spray is messy, but frankly, the full wraparound, they've taken full control already and so deep into CT spawn, and it's going to have to be 8-bit ice, the tip of the spear now as we question that little visual bug. The Deagle rings out, and it's going to be a very strange rush forward, but Cynical picks up 2, and the Deagle is not quite finding its mark. It's just Page left on the M4, but the spray finds 1. And in the 1 versus 2, but Steely Glint just leaning in from CT. I mean, you really are. I mean, this is a game now of numbers. This is going to be a game of rounds. This is going to be a game. Frankly, it doesn't look like we're even going to need Overpass. I mean, we might still force them to play it because it's funny, but we'll see.
Yes, of course. I'm really hoping these CTs can get their shit back together and figure out
it would
strategy.
be so lovely, wouldn't it, to see this game go the whole way. I mean, we would just love to see more rounds of the beautiful game being played out by our 2 teams here.
Looking like an A hit is forming up here on second mid.
And that A hit that is coming together, it doesn't seem to have any banana control, but the lack of banana control is a bit of a concern for me. Cynical has been the star performer on this CT side in terms of numerical output and just sheer impact on the rounds, as we know he can be on Inferno. But the question as it always seems to be, is where are we going to find the rest of the team? 8-bit ice as the push comes in now. Steely Glint just walking forwards, and the 5-7 rings out, but doesn't quite find its mark. And with that, Dan is just going to run over the bomb site. Steely Glint now looking for the Tadpole. The nade rings out, puts him low. Tadpole alone in the site defense, but the flank is fast. The flank is fast from Nim with the scout. and the flank is even faster from this MP9. Archery Zealot seems to have
himself.
died to fall damage, I think, as this shift walk out is good, but the MP9 doesn't quite find its mark. And with that, the 4-piece from Dan. I mean, that is a round that one player has just really said, I don't want to play any more rounds of Inferno than we have to. This game is going to be dictated by these just really, really strong mid-round shooting out of Vibe and Dan. And it really does make you just start to consider all those questions that we were posing at the start of the game. Can the tactical thoughts and the way that this sort of more system-based Counter-Strike that Bapu's Lesbian seems to be playing, can it actually be backed up by the firepower? And right now the answer does seem to be yes. But we're going to see a clash of titans now. Dan and Cynical confronting each other as the flash fails to go over the half wall, actually. And he's seen him. Is he going to hard clear the sandbags? He sees the gun barrel sticking out. And honestly, with that, I mean, the 2-man spray just leaves the B bomb site open for business. And if you're in this situation, 5 versus 3,
nature.
Your anchors have gone down with nothing. Is this even a round that you're even going for? It makes you think that maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you just decide the fries belong in the bag and there's just no point contesting it. But the Galil starts to ring out, just cutting down Nim on the defense there. And this is, I mean, it's a really hard one to put together at this point. It's a really tough game for any of the players on this Linvision Dream side to bring together, but it needs to be these individual moments of heroics to step up, put a stop to the incredible firepower that we're seeing come out of this other team. This is just... It's just really difficult for this game to actually get turned on its head in the way that it does need to, because right now the pace is being dictated. I'm not sure if my co-cast is still here.
I am.
He is still here.
I was trying to get my camera out of 8-bit Ice, who is...
I see. And with that, we've just already seen the 2 openers coming straight out.
Down to Page Key in apartments.
As we scroll through our cameras, hopefully, to the Tadpole, who actually has managed to pick up 2 there and puts himself in a very winnable 1 versus 3. And now an even more winnable looking 1 versus 2. He's got the aim. We know that this player, with the bomb under his control, and this control of the Archer's position, and this full control of CT side, he's got time to play with. But the problem is, so do the Ts. And he's just given up the bomb control. He's slinking round, but it makes you wonder whether or not this setup is actually going to achieve anything. We hear the nade ring out, but Flub might just go down here. And if he goes down with nothing, suddenly this is a 1v1 that's looking incredibly winnable and very scary now.
This may well be the foothold that LVD are looking for.
Take your time, son.
Stepping up.
This could be the round that defines the game. The question is, he's starting to second guess himself. He's worried about B, but he's not worried about the second player coming in from Library. And is he going to be ready for this Galil push? Who's going to make the first sound cue? Who's going to look away at the wrong moment? It's a game of millimeters. As silence falls over Inferno. But the back is turned. The back is turned. He's making his moves so far all the way round, slinking round. But the Galil rings out now. Time is low.
He doesn't find him.
He doesn't have time to get to the bomb site. He's going to have to run. Has he even got time to plant? It makes you think. And no, with that, the time is low. There's no more time. There's just no more play. And with that, he's done it. Tadpole, an incredible clutch. Is he even going to get him after time? He goes down. And that is absolutely crushing. I was going to say crushing for the economy. Unfortunately, they have $10,000 each saved up. But for Tadpole, that is an incredible individual moment. It just all comes together right there at the end. Giving them something to believe in, something to hope that this game is still on, but it does look as though it might be a pretty fast and heavy B-lean here. And the single nade goes over the top, and it's slowed them down just a little, but they're showing no banana presence beyond the grenade. The question is now, this slow banana crawl with Tadpole posted up on the line. Is there going to be entry utility to set up Vibe and Dan on the way into the bomb site to turn this game into another of numbers? And we have to think to ourselves, there just might be. as I attempt to pan my camera onto any player, and it's just not letting me for some reason spectate
That
Vibing down.
smoke
But
goes
the
up the
play
map and
from
Cynical
Cynical,
finds his first.
he does only get the one, and now it falls to the Tadpole with the reload. He's caught fumbling with his mag in his hands. But the flank is fast
down,
from
but
Nim.
Nim is fast on the flank.
With the scout, the question is, Flub's ready for this? Flub's ready, or is he? He's turned his back at just the wrong moment, creeping through the smoke, shifts out of the smoke, the tag does find him, Page finds the follow-up with the M4, and it's just a 2 versus 3. This is very winnable now. This is, but the nade comes in, and it's just all 8-bit ice. One through the smoke though, and now 8-bit ice versus Steely Glint. Steely Glint has been quietly having a very consistent game here. 8-bit ice struggling inside of the server right now. Is he going to clear the corners? He's not cleared it. He's made the sound cue. And Glint's just posted up on the line. And that is a nice and simple close. Easy as you like it with the Krieg. And we see the trash talk starting to come out inside of the all chat even. It's not even team chat. That's all chat. And I mean, you can just see the mental on the Linvision Dream side is so harsh right now. How do they even put these kinds of rounds together? I mean, okay, my spectator cam is still broken. But you know what? That's okay. We've finally managed to get our POV onto Vibing Dan. And now we want to see how this round is going to be opened up. Because we're looking at the kind of round that, if it can become something, and that scout from Nim, that is a lovely shot. Still looking down mid, holding the line, but this explode is about to come in. And the double open is just crushing. It's soul-wrenching as we see the tag come in from the scout, but it's just cynical with Tadpole in pursuit behind, trying to turn something into this round, but they're trying to make mountains out of molehills. I mean, you just really struggle. The peak is going to come in from Flub, and the spray isn't even good. And it's just now Tadpole left again in a 1v4, but with the bomb down, you have to wonder whether or not there's even anything to be made of this. But frankly, with Vibing Dan teed up on the angle that they are, I mean, it's just a nice, clean, clinical headshot. This is the kind of game of Counter-Strike that if you're Vibing Dan, you woke up this morning and you dreamed about having a performance like this when you logged in for the OCT in-house tournament finals right here today. And when you're coming into map 2, 14 and 5, $13,000 in the bank, 1,200 damage in just 8 rounds. Can anyone put a stop to this onslaught? And you've got to think the mid presence being taken, but the flash is right on time to facilitate the cross. And the setup is still strong in the B apartments, but Captain Cynical right there with the MP9 pounces, gets one, but it's just the one, and your 2 anchors are down with only 1. And now you're looking again at these other side players trying to make something of this round. But with the FAMAS in hand, the 8-bit Iced Eagle will ring out, collect a scalp, and a big one at that. The Zealot, but Z's right there for the double up. And that is the kind of consistency. The Tadpole just looking to take this gunfight, but Steely Glint, a safe pair of hands, always had been. Even though less than 50 health between the remaining defenders, it's just not quite enough to push it over the line.
They're going to need to do a lot these final 3 rounds.
It's going to have to be a really heavy comeback starting right now on this defensive side. And you're just starting to wonder how they're even going to do it. I mean, that we haven't even seen any of these signature aggressive maneuvers out of Captain Cynical. They've been playing scared almost, it feels like. It does really kind of make you wonder whether or not Cynical being forced onto the side of the map that we know he's less comfortable with has been having a bit of an impact on the team's ability to play aggressive, fast-paced Counter-Strike.
Nim, the up rings out, finds one.
Does find one actually, as 8-bit Ice is looking for the second, and almost this apartment setup rock solid. The Tadpole picks up Z, and another out of the Tadpole, rock solid on B. Finally, just Steely Glint in the 1 versus 5. I mean, we know she's got a good pair of hands when it comes to mouse jockeying right here inside of Inferno with the Krieg, but frankly, the CTs seem hungry. They want more. They want some ego. They want some aggression right now.
Looks like
honestly,
find some.
Cynical is going to get exactly what he wants right there inside of Underpass. Doesn't opt to take the Krieg, opts to stay on the M4. But this setup, we haven't been seeing creativity out of the setup. It's just that they've been starting to actually hit their shots. And that is the kind of Counter-Strike that if we can see them keep that up, keep up just hitting those really fast, momentary shots that bring a game of Counter-Strike together, we might have a proper little game on our hands here. But it does look as though already we're starting to look down the field, down the stretch, at a quick opening up, vibing down, teed up for the fight. Is Cynical going to be ready for this? No. Takes a shot to the side, down to 66, but the AK-47 has now revealed itself. They do know they're against the full buy. The block smokes have been deployed. Are they really just going to walk through this? The Zealot does find one on the flank. But these flashes are coming through. The setup is strange. The Tadpole is far out of position, but Nim and Cynical, the rifles ring out. Z buried in here, and the flank, are they ready for the Steely Glint flank? It must have been heard. The steps are loud. But the thing is, do the terrorists know that if they want it, they can just walk out of here? They can just get out of the bomb site, as the M4s fail to make any kind of headway on this round, and 8-bit ice back turned, and the Krieg just comes in and cuts them down. And in this kind of situation, this is the kind of Counter-Strike that, like, I mean, it's shaping up to be another very one-sided affair. We might even need, frankly, to call in that emergency best of 5 on Overpass just to keep this series competitive, because this has not been Counter-Strike the way that Counter-Strike is supposed to be played. They've been playing scared on the CT side, and this fast, aggressive B take, if they really want to look for it, might be the kind of play that puts them on their ass. The problem is, nobody from that T side saw the CT setup into the door position, looking into that bedroom angle, and with the decoy down, it's got to have the CTs guessing where everything's going on, but Flub is looking the wrong way, and the CT's like ships in the night! Flub is the first to turn around, though. The Zealot gets one. 8-bit ice does find a return, though. Steely Glint now, the last left, and the flank from Flub just stabs them in the back. We've seen Tadpole do more with less, but the problem is, in this situation, I mean, how do you even find your foothold onto the bomb site? Is he really going to give this one up? In round 11?
Find this first kill.
He does find the first, but he's down to 6 now.
6 health.
And with just 6 points of health left, is that really all she wrote? Is that the death of the round? Is that as far as Counter-Strike goes? You just have to think, in this type of situation, with this much time gone and only 6 health, are you really going to look for this against what has been 2 very safe pairs of hands, 11 and 5, and then another scoreline that we're not going to mention, but Tadpole does find one. The problem is position revealed now, and the Krieg is posted on this line. It's going to have to be an instant headshot out of the Tadpole, but he's just shift walking around. The molly is good, though. Is it going to find its mark? It does look as though it is, but is it going to spread? No, it hasn't, and the Krieg is still in position. But there's time! Is there time? Is there time? There's just no time, no more play. It's played quietly to perfection. The clutch is so almost good. It makes you think, a game of millimeters, a game of rounds that have just gone the way of 1 or 2 little quiet plays, and we could be looking at a much more even scoreline. But now we start to look at the offense, and the offensive team, I mean, they've got to have something special in store. They've got to have something special. The question is, what is that something special in store going to look like? As we look first to my extremely talented rifler on the other side of the field, which is not letting me spectate for some reason.
We're also seeing a very strange 4-1
the full rush
setup.
up mid, but this is a really strange setup. 4 leaned over towards the B site. That is an incredible gamble. They really believed in the B rush.
Starting to rotate, but they already have the site on.
The bomb's going to go down with no one even dead. Not a point of damage inflicted apart from 56 onto Steely Glint. But now, I mean, we're starting to look at a setup here. As Cynical just takes the space, finds 2! Is that the round? As good as over right here. 5v3, not a kit in play for the CT side. Where are they going to find anything? As we start to look up, and with that, Flub with the team kill to the back of...
Takes us to 9-4.
We're starting to look like there might just be a way back into this game. The question is it going to be Cynical on the AK-47 to find it? As he does refund the AK, goes in for that MAC-10. It makes you wonder, will they employ a classic stratagem that they learned from the best, or are they just going to run straight to B into the possible 3-player stack? Because we do have to consider that in this situation, it does look as though Dan has called the troops over to set up for this play, but with just the USPs and pistols in hand, is there really anything to do here? The FAMAS first on the line will find one, but frankly, there's not enough
It's
left.
a 1 for 2
The USP
trade.
starts tapping away, but it just doesn't have the damage.
They find their foothold on B. It could very much take this half.
And they've got their man.
Favor.
They've started to... This could be a game of Counter-Strike starting to ramp up. The problem is, what I'm worried about is these CT setups are looking good. It's just the guns letting them down in this round number 14. The question therefore becomes, can they repeat this success once they get onto the guns? 8-Bit Ice picks up a nice one on the Galil. Just Steely Glint left now on the Mac 10. Doesn't look as though she's going to save it. Captain Cynical is looking to come in with the flank here, and PageKey will finish it with the flying Mac 10. And with that, we are staring down a 9-5. And honestly, if they decide to invest here into the round 3, rather than just taking the bonus, I mean, we do see the AWP come out, and that is a statement. That is a statement gun out of Nim.
Especially from Nim.
And we're starting to think, well, I mean, we're more than starting to think, we're believing now. We're almost at the point where this game is in touching distance. Win this round, you've got the CTs on the ropes, a nice little shot across mid here, waits it out, the jump comes in again. And with that, the third jump, they're just playing with them, toying with them. The shots don't ring out, but Cynical finds his man. The question is, Flub will get the retrade, the AWP rings out, and there it is. We were waiting, and now the last is known in theory. The question is, does Nim know? Is Nim expecting this? Must have seen the shoulder there. Must have seen the shoulder. Must know. Must be ready to post up on the line, defending back towards mid. The real question is this just all she wrote? Zealot just going to chill? Maybe collect an AK-47 if he can get his hands on one? And let this round play out on time, because there's no kit, there's no time for this dilly-dallying around. But with that, this is going to be the CT economy broken. They can't buy another full buy into the next. And it makes you think, surely they're forced into a save. And with that, the game's 9-7, and suddenly we're in touching distance on Inferno.
Starting to shape up like the game of Counter-Strike that we really wanted it to be.
And the game that we were promised. But the problem is...
Right.
But with no kit, that is just going to be the round, and he will go down after time. And the thing is, yes, you lose the AWP, but in that situation, is losing the AWP the worst thing in the world when you've suddenly got $11,000 on both PageKey and Captain Cynical, and Rhino is going to buy into the AWP with no armor, which is a very questionable decision against what you know is going to be M4s and pistols. They have chosen to forego the utility in this round to get the 3 M4s out, and it's just going to be this deagle for Vibin Danny and Flub Agus, which is... that's a scary prospect for any team to be facing down. The AWP is seen. The AWP is seen again. Chooses not to have that deagle ring out. They are trying to play a little bit more for map control here. The thing is, this push is very fast out of Steely Glint. They can't be expecting this. They can't possibly believe that this has already come through. That is just going to be a dead AWPer shot in the side of the head. The question is, has Cynical done enough with the AK-47? They're not looking. No one's looking.
Oh!
But she whiffs the spray, and Nim spins around. What a shot!
Steely Glint!
And it just leaves the deagle of Vibin Danny left, looking to clean this round up. 8-Bit Ice pushing forward with the Galil. The space has been taken. But that is a lovely shot. And we're starting to believe, you're always believing when it's Vibing Danny with a Desert Eagle. You just always know a little bit of that magic is right there, ready for the round to come together. And with Cynical low, and Nim just one body shot away from being taken down, and that smoke going down to keep the T's guessing, even on this late round situation. The Galil equipped now. You can't be letting this happen. No, not like this. Not like this. Not like this. No. Okay, there's no kit. Just going to walk away with the AWP. That is almost a soul-wrenching round for the T side. They do pick up the victory, but frankly, if you let Vibe and Danny get away with the AWP and 5,000 in the bank, this is looking like it's going to be another really solid buy for the CT side. And how's that game going to come together?
It's going to be our first rifles on rifles round of
the full gun round now.
Half.
Steely Glint has brought into the Negev for the B bomb site, and with the smoke, this is a scary prospect if you're not prepared to deal with it. That LMG can do so much work, and the AWP is just soul-crushing. It's just can't with all this.
He finds a second as well.
It's just everywhere. It's all over the map. It's simple-esque in terms of how it's always taking the space that it needs, taking the duels that it trusts. The question is, what is happening on the side of this smoke? Walks through the smoke. Cynical will find one, and that's suddenly the whole site open for business. It may be only 2 players left, but there's space here. There's really some space to piece something together. The question is Cynical going to be able to be the one to do it? The AWP rings out, and we're left with just Nim on that AWP left to play. The molly rings out, but the shot is good, and that is an ace!
Ace from Vibin Danny, what a monster!
Up to 22 kills and 2,100 damage done inside of this game. Captain Cynical may be on 18 with the Tadpole on 20, close in behind, but this is just absolutely incredible, the amount of work that we are seeing out of this young AWPer from Bosnia. Shubs, welcome to the stream as well. Currently, it's a very close game of Counter-Strike that you've tuned in for here. The shot rings out, though. Vibin Dan just so quick on the AW, on that L3A1 Frost line, as they call it over in Call of Duty. And we are, honestly, this is shaping up like it's just going to be Vibin Dan walking it over the line for the counter-terrorist side. The thing is, they may not know it, but over on the B bomb site, it's fully open for business. The question is, the AWP on the line now sighted. The question is, how are they going to get the bomb in here? Are they even, or is it all a fake? As 8-Bit Ice
Page Key falls as well.
Really struggling to find anywhere to have impact on this side of the map, but the timing might just be right. Is Z about to get shot in the back? That must have been heard by 8-Bit Ice. Oh, but the shots ring out, and that's the bomb scene.
Ragged Tadpole goes down, leaving the B site empty.
The AK comes out.
It's down to 8-Bit Ice with 17 HP, a bomb, and
17
a
HP,
dream.
50 seconds left on the clock. How do you even turn this into a play? I mean, the AWP is already just making its way over, and it's going to ring out and drop that bomb into the floor. 26 and 12 right now for Vibin Danny. This is an absolute masterclass. This is the kind of Counter-Strike that we have been hoping to see all day, ever since we got onto the server. This is the aim clinic that we were promised out of this young player, and it does put them onto 1 round away from guaranteeing at least overtime, although it doesn't look as though they're going to need it the way that Vibin Dan is playing right now in this game. No mid contest this time. That's been left open. The question is, these 3 players barreling up through the second mid, starting to look for the space, but the AWP is on this line. They have to know. There has to be some utility to flush this out. As we hear the AWP ring out, but it's a rare miss! And the molly and the AWP from the Tadpole does sit Vibing Dan right down, and Cynical finds 2 more with the AK-47 on Banana. That's got the CT scrambling now. They don't know where to look. They don't know where the enemy team could even be, and it's just Steely Glint left over on that B site, leaving Z out to dry over here on the A side of the map. There's just no space left to be taken now. But Z will find the one just about in time as we start to look for the bomb going down on the A site. And with that, we're looking at the flank, but is the plant good? No, it is good. It's covered, in fact. Nim picks up the kill. It's a 1 versus 3 now, and the AWP just calls to Nim like the Green Goblin mask. Thing is, Captain Cynical posted up on the line, doesn't quite hit that instant headshot, does get the info for the rest of his team. Going to be calling the team over, letting them know that this is how it's supposed to go. The nade comes out and he's fumbling with nades! Oh no, not like this. Not like this, Steely Glint. Surely not the 1v3 into the bomb. I mean, the time is so far gone, but the instant headshot.
Nim. It's down to 8-Bit Ice to hold the bomb.
And 8-Bit Ice will hold the line. Stand and bang, as they say. It's a close run thing, but 8-Bit Ice just about manages to get away with the play.
Looks like this Counter-Strike game will be closer than we ever expected.
Closer than we could have hoped. That is indeed a real, almost clutched NT moment for Steely Glint. But honestly, if that had been how the defensive side had managed to get their 12th, I mean, what a round it would have been. After the multi-kill from Captain Cynical to break it open as well. But Nim finally wins that head-to-head in mid. And if that is not the Counter-Strike that we have been hoping to see all day, then I do not know what is. As we see another cross, the AK rings out from Captain Cynical, just in the way of the teammates. But the AWP rings out for another.
Nim finds his second.
And this AWP in mid.
Third.
Captain Cynical and
Captain
Nim
Cynical.
are just taking so much work. The smoke down in Banana does keep the terrorists guessing as to where the space has been taken. Steely Glint will pick up one onto Captain Cynical as the digits are punched in, and it is 2 heavy hitters now for the defensive side. One coming in through mid, one coming in through library. Peeking out from library. Is the AWP going to round the corner in time? No. The player's gone forward. And there's no way they're ready for this.
Fine. He sees Nim but doesn't take the chance.
The question is, oh no, the side of the head, Flub Agus now, and it's just Flub in the 1v2. Surely not. 10 HP on the Ragged Tadpole. Surely he's not thinking of giving this one a go. In this situation, with so little time, the spray isn't good, as 8-Bit Ice will pick up another. Safe pair of hands, closes out 2 rounds in a row. And it's just getting closer and closer as we're starting to believe. I mean, I'm starting to believe that maybe there is a game of Counter-Strike being played here. In fact, I'm more than starting to believe this is a series that really, in the latter stages of Map 2, is starting to boil over and brew into a proper competitive slugfest of an affair. And we're now looking to Nim again with the AWP, and it's this matchup that we've been watching all game long. And we have to think, this is going to be the one. Flub picks up one, as we see the AWP push forward, sees the shoulder, doesn't react to it, just leans over towards the B site instead. The Zealot picks up 2. That is a really tough situation to find yourself in, as they already start encroaching on mid, and it's just now 2 versus 4. Their backs are turned. They're not even ready for this. The AWP just creeps around the corner. Is it going to catch them both in the spine? You just got to be heartbroken that that's how it goes down. For double kill from the Zealot. You're wanting to believe in this offense. You're wanting to believe in the attacking side. But it's so hard for them to get anything going. But we do have to assume we're going to see this mid-fight coming out again. 5 revolvers dropped in spawn. I mean, it's wrenching. It wrenches at the gut. All the money spent. They're expecting not even to be able to get out of this round. They just think we're going all the way to overpass should the players decide to play the third. But the creep. The AWP brings out, and Nim does indeed pick up Vibing Danny. That T-side aggression is good. Coming alive here in the dying moments of Inferno, but is it enough? It looks like it might be, as 8-Bit Ice picks up another, and that play is starting to look like we might have a little bit of something brewing here.
One left on A.
Inside of this match of Counter-Strike Global Offensive that we are being so privileged to. As the AK spray comes out, and 8-Bit Ice will pick up the headshot onto Z. And these 2 defenders on the bomb site, plus this AWP playing around in mid. Nim finds that kill, and it's just the Zealot. Surely he's not going to go for this. He may have a kit, and he may have some util for the retake, and an AK in hand, but that AK is so valuable. You'd have to think they're not going to really look at this one. Surely not. But it seems they will. Seems he is. It seems the Zealot is looking to find a way to piece this one together, but with such limited time, are they even going to consider the apartments play? They know it's long. They aren't even thinking about it as they're just jumping in, and 8-Bit Ice, another safe pair of hounds. It seems we're always saying his name as he's closing out these rounds. I mean,
it looks like this round may well have been what the T side needed to crack open that CT economy and stop.
It's very true. It's very true, and we're just 2 away from overtime at this point in time. But the thing is, this late in the stretch, are we really gonna do anything except bet on the AWP from Vibing Danny? I mean, this is a matchup that we've been watching all game long.
It's the 5th time they're crossing their rifles in mid.
And it might just be which of them is gonna buckle first. Who will creep out and take the shot? Looks like it's no one, though, as Flub and Glint just taking control of Banana, and he who wins Banana wins Inferno. It's often been said, as Alex... Hi, Alex. Sorry, just got distracted by Twitch chat there, or YouTube chat, I should say.
Regardless, we are down to 2 on 5. It's looking tough for the T side.
2 on 5, but Captain Cynical, always a pair of hands that you can rely
Makes
on.
that a 2
Will
on
the
3.
swing come in time? Not
1 on
quite.
3.
And it makes you wonder, but we do
Inferno.
just about wrap things up there. The question is, as I'm about to send my co-commentator to request, will the players agree to play a final match on Overpass?
Indeed, I will go ask our players right now.
As this has been a really close series, at least on that second map here of Inferno. The first map, a bit of a blowout, but it's been one of those games. It's been one of those games where things just things just didn't quite seem to work out for the other side. But it looks as though that is going to be potentially the close of our match. Although, much to think about as to whether or not that will in fact be the case.
It doesn't look like they're buckling. They just want their P250 sand dunes shipped straight to their mailbox.
And I suppose that is how the game tends to go. Well, I suppose we should go and we'll have a word for the exit interview. Can you go and ask if any of them want to give an exit interview for me?
Of course. We are guaranteed a few exit interviews. We are seeing a Ragged Tadpole, a Steely Glint, I believe a Captain Cynical. We'll just have to go through all of them.
All right, well, I'll tell you what. Tell them to go from the top of the voice chat to the bottom in alphabetical order. Tell them to just jump in here. Anyone who wants to go through, if the first person can have their opportunity to jump in, and we'll give them a quick interview, and just tell them that we'll go down the list alphabetically. So I think Cynical said he wanted to go first. Let's get that fella in here. Let's have a word. We are now just looking for the exit interviews from the players.
My team is so homeless. My team is so fucking homeless.
And it does look as though we've got our first in here for the interview. The captain.
My team is so fucking
now
homeless.
let's have a little chat about this game, because it does look as though you aren't happy with how that one played out. And it's not hard to see why you wouldn't be, because that was a really tough game for the boys. We have to ask, it did look as though there was a whole lot of quite scared Counter-Strike being played in general when it came to the defensive side. And I just want to ask you, as team captain of this one, I believe you were, I just want to know, I would really just love to know how you thought the strategies were playing out, and whether or not you believed that the team was in fact playing scared, or whether or not that was just, as we got later down the stretch, you started to wonder whether or not there was even anything to do.
After our original team captain, Kuranagi, died in a tragic boating accident, the harsh and very difficult decision was made to make me team captain. And then, coincidentally, we did not plan for this, but this is just kind of how it turned out. Captain Cynical had his lobotomy yesterday.
Oh, I see.
And the other guys just never had a brain to begin with.
I see.
So, it was just a bad show all around.
So you think it was just a lack of passion amongst the players, perhaps, that was really testing them on this one, and they were just struggling to find the Counter-Strike IQ that we know some of those players have, because we were talking, of course. During the game, we were passing comments. We saw some moments, some signs of life out of the team. We saw, obviously, the absolutely incredible 1 versus 4 came out of how should I say it? I forgot his in-game name, Finn. But an absolutely incredible play out of the Tadpole. We saw that 1v4 come through, and we honestly, down the stretch on Inferno, we started to see you flashing some absolutely fantastic shots down mid with the AWP.
Oh yeah, he did have some good op duels. We
did see some incredible work in actually shutting down the top performer and MVP of the whole server, presented by Rollbit and OPGG. The MVP of the whole server, which was in this instance, we did find to be Vibe and Danny, but we did see that you were contesting that head-to-head a good number of times, and in fact getting the upper hand. How do you think your AWPing could have had an impact on this series? More or less on Mirage could have made that map closer?
In the trade, in the business, there's always, not only an economy of guns, but also an economy of, staying power in the team. I was proverbially bankrupt. My team did not believe in me. They were vying for my downfall at every turn. A thorn in my side through and through. Four very large thorns planted in my side every time I tried to even think about using an op. But I tried to pull through, but I really did the best that I could.
And that is the kind of team cohesion that honestly makes me wonder whether or not this roster is going to survive the winter player break. Although, with that being said, thank you very much for your time, Rhino64, captain and AWPer of that team. If you would like to please make your way back to the main channel and send the next person in for an exit interview, that would be lovely.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Please check out our sponsors, rollbit.gg and clash.gg also.
Yeah, Clash.gg
use
sponsors
code-
us as well. I'm also sponsored by Gmail.
Yeah, you can actually use code company time for like 20 extra, 20%
warning.
extra. On
Anyone
your first
caught
deposit.
doing this, we accept no accountability for the fact that this code does not work. And with that, we go to our next exit interview. And really, in a few of those rounds, you were the man of the hour. Ragged Tadpole 85. I mean, that clutch where you came in 1 versus 4 to just about manage to bring the team through. I mean, it was beautiful. It was a moment of beauty, but it was one of those moments that makes one wonder if that fire and that tenacity could have been alive in the team a little earlier in the stretch on Inferno or perhaps on map 1 of Mirage. We have to ask, do you think that the team really had a chance to take it here if you had those more inspired plays earlier? Or was that just an individual flash of brilliance against an opponent that frankly was hitting very hard on the firepower today?
No, do you know what? I think if we had a bit more team cohesion and a bit more, like you said, a spark, definitely we could have pulled through. We definitely could have won. The first round, I mean, we're all kind of new to playing with each other, and I don't know what to say. You know, we just didn't have that team cohesion. But as you saw in the second game, you know, we sort of pulled it together a bit. Obviously, unfortunately, lost, but yeah.
And that team cohesion does seem to be something that keeps coming up. And so I suppose we didn't want to ask the captain about it, a little bit too much pressure, and maybe one would have just got a political answer out of Rhino64. We have to ask, do you think this team is going to survive the player break, or will the coach be making changes?
I think, sadly, the coach will be making changes. As you saw the scoreboard.
Sad to hear.
Yeah,
although,
well.
when one really thinks about it, it is pretty difficult to imagine this roster of 5 players continuing under any banner at this point in time. But, I mean, well, a rough showing from all, especially on Mirage. So my commiserations to you, Ragged Tadpole. Thank you for coming and doing this interview with us.
Just one more last.
Got something to say to the fans at home?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, everybody. I think if we got a transfer of like the glint finger, or maybe like Danny, I think our team could be definitely top 1 in the
Interesting. A lot to think about there, and much to think about, and rumours going into the off season and the player break. But thank you so much for your time. If you'd like to please return to the other call and send the next player in for their exit interview.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
A lot of these players have been itching for that change in the roster, but
it does seem
evidently.
so. Although we are now due a word, I believe. We're due a word, I believe, with the Archery Zealot. And Archery Zealot,
calm down.
It must be said, we saw some absolutely thrilling Counter-Strike out of you, especially in those mid and late round situations on the B bomb site of Inferno. And we know that's not a position that you've necessarily been especially comfortable with throughout your career, but in this game it just looked like you were an absolute rock in that position. Is it fair to say that you've been practicing this position on Inferno, or is it just true that as the game has been going on and as the game has been developing, you've been finding yourself playing these more difficult and contested positions, and in this game it just seemed to work out for you? Which would you say has been a more accurate description of your recent form on Inferno?
Well, you see, man, the thing is, I haven't found myself in many positions before, right? Like, I haven't been in that one. I hadn't been in missionary or doggy style. None of them, right? And so this is my first time here. Well, let's look at it from the big picture. And I was really motivated by a certain knowledge. I heard that the winners were going to have they were going to get to watch the Bount arc for Bleach. So I was just like, yeah, this is really worth it. And I really have to give it up to my teammates because they were the ones who were directing me like a mission control almost. Like, have you ever played Pikmin? They were guiding me around like I was a Pikmin, and they really put me in the spots where I could shine. It was their tactical thinking.
That's very interesting to hear, because as well as those positions you're being placed in, it does have to be said that your AWPer in this situation, it must be said, Vibing Danny was putting on absolutely godlike numbers throughout this series. Top performer in map 1, top performer in map 2, and was in fact our Rollbit Clash.gg OP Skins MVP of the game.
R1 Skins as well.
R1 Skins, yep. Can't forget R1, our glorious sponsor.
Well, you see, I really saw that ace that he got, and I was like, wow, he's the ace, I'm just the joker, right? And we really got to put him in positions where he shines, and he really was able to do so.
And it's so interesting that you were willing to sacrifice a little bit of your own play those more anchor positions on the B side. But frankly, I think that just speaks to the caliber of cohesion that there is between your team. And honestly, I think that is a beautiful thing. I'm inspired to see what this roster can do. Hopefully make some deep runs at future events. And I'd like to thank you for your time. And if you would like to please go and collect the next individual for their exit interview, that would be awesome.
Absolutely. I think that he's already here. Actually,
Is that
so? I'll
so?
see
Well,
myself out.
I
Yeah.
suppose thank you for your time, and we will now have a word with the edge shot
The
machine
Agus
himself,
himself.
the
Adios.
Flub Agus.
The Scout Master, one might say.
Now, Flub, this was a series of two sides for you. I felt we sometimes saw some moments of real struggle out of your aim, and then yet again, over on Mirage, we saw some scouting with that SSG08 Blood in the Water in hand that really made me think this is a player to watch for the future. This is a player whose sheer individual aim with this weapon can make him into an absolute force inside and outside of the server, just in terms of bringing teams together and propping them forward with that aim. Do you think you see yourself playing a lot of these more like X Factor clutch situations with the Scout going forwards, or do you think that this event was kind of a one-time thing?
Thank you. First off, would just like to say a big thanks to my team. You know, really strong cohesion there. I'd argue, to use terms from my initial game of choice when it comes to competitive play, a double circle heritage. Really some surprising, very strong team synergy there. And, you know, just to kind of circle back to your question, when it comes to, you know, just playing that scout position again, kind of being a bit of a wild card in terms of play, I really try to be less of the hard key to any specific door and more of the silly putty in terms of, you know, which guns I pick, which positions I play, whether I'm kind of leading in as the meat shield or ending off as the meat shield. You know, there's really quite a lot of variability to my style, which again, really more so comes down to my team. And then I would just like to say, you know, all in all, I understand that there might have been some animosity between the two teams in terms of BM, and, you know, that's all just fair play, I guess you could say. As gladiators do, you know, we had to throw a little flair in there.
Of course, of course. And it was good to see so much passion for the game inside of the server today. And we noticed a lot of that passion, especially coming through from the enemy team, in fact. And I'd like to ask you briefly about what you think, because we thought they were playing quite scared Counter-Strike here on the caster/analyst/host desk, because we do all three of those jobs here. We thought they were playing quite scared Counter-Strike, as though they were really struggling to sort of make a bold impact in the way that a lot of your players were. Do you think that's fair to say, or do you think that you really were just choking them out of the space that much?
1 second, let me just make the speed training. All right, yeah, we're all good. Okay, so just to kind of answer that question, you know, obviously I'm not inside of their heads as much as I wish I could be at any given moment in play, but they definitely were more reactive than proactive. And, you know, kind of in the Bapu and Lesbians team, you know, as we kind of strategize our play, we really want to make sure confidence is at the forefront of our game. So, you know, me and my teammates, especially my teammates, came out with a very confident first round. We really pushed them hard, even as they kind of tried what I'd argue was a desperate tactic with an initial rush on all 4 starting rounds. And, you know, at that point, we pretty much had a guarantee that, you know, they were playing all their cards at once. That to be said, I would really like to kind of just say, you know, here on the air, both personally as friends and professionally as a player, they definitely should seek some emotional coaching when it comes to the game, because, you know, as the rounds progressed, we could tell that they were getting more and more desperate, to your sake, to your words.
Indeed, indeed. And as we very well know, keeping a level head and activating proactively is not only the key in Counter-Strike, but in business and in life as well. So a lot to learn here, I think, for our aspiring young players at home. And of course for the enemy team, and of course every team watching this here today at the On Company Time Invitational Tournament. So thank you very much for your time again. And if you would like to please return to the other call and send the next person in for their exit interview,
If I
that'd be
may,
lovely.
I would like to just say one more word to the kids watching at home who want to be pros one day. Of course. You know, when you're practicing and going through these reps, you know, understand that this is a marathon, not a sprint. Make sure that you're taking your breaks, getting up, getting some water, because, you know, the last thing you'd want is to be in a situation where your practice becomes poor instead of perfect. So that's all I have to say.
Very well said. Very well said.
I'll send in the next.
Now please send the next one in for their interview.
Aye, Cap.
That Bapu and Lesbians team really had fire at their heels when they were
truly
working
did.
their way down
They
the
truly
rounds.
did.
Hello, Steely Glenn.
Now, we would just like to have a little bit of a word about this game, as we have with everyone here, because it was such an interesting series for us to follow here at the caster desk and analyst desk and host desk, because again, we do all three. And well, we really enjoyed following it, but I wanted to pick your brain a little bit because it felt as though in a lot of these games, you were kind of the I don't want to say the X factor, but you were playing, as we know in the Counter-Strike world, a lot of these kind of rain positions when it comes to this really high-level Counter-Strike. And you were finding yourself a lot of the time in these positions where you're not necessarily quite the full bomb site anchor, but you're often exactly where you need to be with a gun holding down a long angle, right? And you're taking a lot of this space, so it makes it feel as though your opponents in this match were really choked out of the game. And especially on the CT side, we got the impression from watching that they were very constricted in what they could do and where they could play. Do you think that's a fair assessment of your playstyle, or do you think that this was just a mark of the perhaps difficulties that your opponents were facing that allowed you to play this more flexible and yet still unbreakable defensive style of Counter-Strike?
No, I understand. I've received comments from previous teammates and coaches that I have a rather unconventional playstyle. I completely accept that. What happens is I look down somewhere, and then if there's an enemy, I shoot them, and if there's no enemy, I get bored and I move somewhere else. And this leads to the effect of me peeking people at really inconvenient and unexpected times.
And it's such an interesting way of playing Counter-Strike. It's a really modern way of playing the game. I think this very stylistically fast and loose and unpredictable method of Counter-Strike, no matter what brings it to rise. And I think it was really interesting. But I want to talk to you as well, therefore, about the other piece of the puzzle on this team for you. And we've spoken about him a lot on the desk, which is, of course, the kind of almost unstoppable force that is Vibe and Danny. I mean, aside from a few lost head-to-heads with the AWP against Rhino 64 in those mid-rounds on Inferno, honestly, across the stretch of both maps, it seemed like Vibe and Danny was a player who was really just taking things into their own. And with your supporting pieces covering out the rest of the map, this player really seems like an absolutely on-fire prospect right now. Can you just tell me a little bit about what it's like to play with the undisputed GOAT?
Well, Harry, it's very reassuring to know that, I tend to play on the other bomb site to Danny. So that we have one rising star prodigy on each bomb site, of course, because we are both equally rising star prodigies. I think you'd agree.
Many have been saying this.
Many have been saying
this, especially here at the casting desk.
Yeah, many people would say that we're equal, actually. Many people would say that, right?
My co-host.
It has been said.
One might say you might have fire at your heels.
Yeah, many have said that. I'm just making sure that many have actually said that. Because I have no idea.
The saying of
It was very reassuring. I knew that if Danny was at a site, that site wasn't going anywhere. We were either going to take that, or... Well, there was no or. We were going to take it, or we were going to hold it if we were holding it. The real power actually comes from when he's working with a team. Sorry, when they're working with a team, crucify me, kill me, drown me, dip me in cold acid.
Yeah, cold acid for you after this game. Don't worry,
Cold
we've already
acid,
got it
please.
prepared just outside the green room.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, the VAT is actually sponsored by R1 Skins.
Yeah,
and,
the cold acid dunk by R1 Skins and Rollbit.
And Clash.
I'm ready to be put in the cold acid.
By
But
R1
as
Skins
I
and
was
Rollbit.
saying-
Yes, continue.
Before I get dunked and turn into a cartoon skeleton, I really, really enjoyed playing with Danny because they would just hold the most important, crucial angle, duel the enemy best player, or whoever was brave enough to peek, and defeat them, and that really gave us a bit of initiative and momentum to play with.
And that's so
Yeah.
interesting to hear. Although, I suppose the thing that does make me wonder is we saw quite a few times down the stretch on Inferno, especially in the closing stages of play, we tended to see that AWP head-to-head in mid that we were talking about so much on the desk, especially between games and going into map 2. We saw that AWP head-to-head actually being won more and more by Rhino. And as we started to see that perhaps potential little dip in form during the game from Danny, do you think that that continuing to persist with that same style of taking the confrontation there and often putting yourselves in those 4v5s in the early round situations, even though sometimes you were able to bring them back, do you think that made the game closer than it needed to be?
This is actually one of the things I wanted to talk about. We performed far better in Mirage than Inferno, not because it's a better map. I think our Inferno is a little bit better, player to player. than our Mirages. We really struggled because we got bored
That's very
and
interesting.
our communications weren't as tight. Our playstyle wasn't as tight. Our gunfighting was sloppy compared to our Mirage game.
That's very interesting.
Generally, we had a few moments where people would look around in spawn. We still weren't sure where we were playing. We still didn't have a strategy at the start of every T round, which we really should have been. Many of my teammates attributed this, or at least mentioned that it might have something to do with the 2 hours it took to set the server up.
That's very interesting to think about. Although honestly quite heartbreaking to hear the lack of concern for TOs amongst the players. I mean, considering all the work that goes into making an event like the On Company Time Invitational Tournament happen, it's quite gutting to hear so many issues being had by the players. But well, I suppose that is the cross that we are burdened to carry as event organizers. But
The cold acid that we are burdened to get dipped into.
Indeed.
one might
And
even
I
say.
do understand.
with that, I would
As
like to
for
thank
most-
you for your time. And I don't know if there's anyone else who would like to give an exit interview. I think Captain Cynical is the last who has not given one. So if you'd like to go and ask him if you'd like to come and have a word with the caster desk, and we'd like to thank you
Course.
for your
Is
time and
he
your team's
perhaps
participation.
too?
Those two, indeed.
Oh, I'll grab them both and throw them in here
Indeed. Let's have a
together
word.
for a dual interview.
We'd love to have a word with those two.
Simboli Danny keeping mysterious as always, I suppose. Oh, there's not much of an interview to give in the voice chat, but
Indeed, it is true. Indeed, it is true. Although that really just is how these games tend to shake out.
Hey guys.
Captain
The
Cynical, we really
captain.
did want to have a word with you, and I wanted to extend my commiserations after a really hard-fought game. And I think in a lot of situations, you were the man who was stepping up for your side, taking things into your own hands, and really trying to make this a more competitive affair than it was. We saw some amazing rounds out of you on Inferno, some really strong A entries, some excellent mid-rounding, especially when it came to taking gunfights through the mid area, and even on Inferno, we saw some really rock-solid defenses of B when you were called upon. But overall, a really tough series for you and the team. Do you think that you felt overall that you were being drawn in too many directions where you were trying to make impact?
I don't. I think that perhaps, but I don't think that I was particularly crutch for my team. I think the it wasn't particularly that I was needed in every place at once. It was more so I think I did best when it came to catching out people off guard, because when it came to actually leading a push or coordinating something together, I couldn't be the front man that could step up to do that. I would just and so we lost a lot of our more sort of planned attacks. Instead, I found myself best at just repelling flanks and or flanking myself and looking around, because then we could make impact that way and be able to secure the round.
I think that's a very fair comment, and I think it's certainly true. I think we felt it on the caster and analyst and host desk here that we are. We felt a lot of your impact really being felt in those situations where you were given a little more space to work. And it makes me wonder, especially regarding your setups on Inferno, we tended to see a lot of similarity between every setup that you ran on most of the rounds in sequence. And in fact, perhaps one of the things that surprised us here on the analyst desk was we found you tending to lean over towards the B side of the map and take control of Banana, which we know not a position you've traditionally been as comfortable with compared to the more A side lean of the map. And we're just wondering whether or not that was brought on by anything, and whether or not that consistent playing of that position you felt was one of the things that potentially led to the lack of variance in your CT side setups.
Well, it was the same in Mirage. If you noticed, I never went B. It's you need the maps that are A side Mirage and on B-side Inferno, I think, just really require a good hold. And I think that like it was something that I would rather die defending than try to come back to retake. I'm less comfortable in my retakes of sites. When it came to like, even though that I don't play a lot of like B-side Inferno, I relatively know enough about that side to be able to try to defend it myself. I wasn't kind of thinking about counterplay strategies. I think that that's like the thing is, in my mind, counterplay strategies are only implemented if the team fails twice at doing something, especially in this ELA. So if we were like winning more rounds, then I would be shaking up my strategy more. But since we were losing so much, I felt it was just kind of like, well, whatever. They're probably not going to expect it because they're probably going to be still actually be the ones to just be rotating strategies without kind of assuming counterplay.
And I find that very interesting because I think it's something we heard from the rest of the team today that in terms of the cohesion of this team, there were often not exactly so much unity in terms of ideas sometimes, perhaps. But I felt that perhaps this most frequently played into on the CT side setups across both maps. We tended to see what I referred to as scared Counter-Strike, wherein perhaps you were less of the victim of this, but perhaps your influence over the team and your voice might be able to offer us some insight into whether or not you thought the team was playing, especially as we got further down the stretch, this slightly more passive and scared style, as opposed to trying to find those moments of proactivity. I mean, do you think that's something that the team faces?
Well, yeah, I think it's just kind of a nature of the CELO. Like I don't think that I'm a derelict of that myself. But most of the time, like when it came to I would want to like call rushes and to just to keep going and to pick up on momentum. But at the same time, like it's kind of just instinct to stop and just like hold and wait for someone else to push instead of like pushing yourself. So like whenever the team would I would find myself that like I would go in and if I would lead the charge, like sometimes I'd be followed by other times maybe not. I think that was also the reason why lurking was such an effective strategy on both sides that game, because people moved so slow and peeked around corners so slow that it just kind of meant that like you could catch them out quite easily. And at the same time, I think the reason why a lot of my early on rushes worked so well was that the enemy team was when they were not expecting that I'd be there, they'd be expecting the rest of my team to kind of like slowly inch towards them instead of just like running at them crazily with an MP9 or a Mac 10.
Well, that has been extremely insightful to hear all of that from you. Thank you for letting us pick your brain on this one. Commiserations again for a really tough loss that you fought very hard for. Yeah, if you would like to please return to the other voice chat and perhaps ask our final player, Z, if she has anything she would like to come and say in an exit interview. We'd love to hear from her.
Okay.
One might even call them pharaohs.
Hello.
The craft. Hello.
Hello. And what a series that was. We loved watching it here on the caster desk. We loved seeing the passion and emotion come out from the players in the all chat during the game. And now that we've got you here with us, it would be really, I think, very insightful to hear from the perspective of someone who was, I would say, definitely a rock in terms of solid consistency in a lot of the more extremity positions on both maps of the series. And I would just love to hear how you felt it was working with this new team in this new environment across these two classic maps.
Well, you know, as one of the 4 lesbians on the team, you know, we have a very innate synergy, and I think that was like seen from the start. But we were kind of like a bit worried at the beginning, but then we realized we could all kind of fit into these positions. Like Danny IGL was great. Steely would like support and like get some good kills along with Danny. Bafu and like Richie was amazing too, especially for like one of the first games. Yeah, and we just kind of like found our positions, you know.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting to hear because we haven't actually heard very much about the IGL from your side of things. We heard a lot about the perhaps the lack of direct leadership and calling from your opponents, but we certainly felt that on your side of things, perhaps there maybe was a smoother flow of information. How do you
I
think it was?
There was, because I found out in the little commentators channel that they didn't teach Page Key any callouts. While during warm up, you might have spotted me kind of looking to Richie and then running around the map, not actually warming up, but because that's when I was like, Richie, this is mid, this is A, this is B, that's main, that's con, and I was just yelling down the mic.
That's
And
really
Richie was so good at picking it
These
up.
are really fascinating.
He was so good at picking it up. Like, so big props to Richie on that. Very fast learner.
The synergy and the kind of the trying to bring a whole unit together rather than just focusing on your own ideas. I think that's a really unique intangible skill that we don't actually see a lot of in Global Offensive. Oh well, I should say CS2 these days. That was
it's because I'm
fascinating.
Bum and I don't get the kills often. So
well, except what we saw. What we saw was exactly as you say. What we saw was you filling the gaps in a system that seemed to come together really well. We saw often, I mean, as you say, he was a new player, but he seemed to already grasp quite quickly some of the fundamentals of mid-rounding alongside 2 very strong players in Danny and Steely Glint. And we saw a lot of this this kind of the output could come from anywhere, so to speak. A lot of the damage that was being done by your side of things on the Bapu's lesbian side was you never really quite knew where it was going to come from. Sure, you could always rely on Vibe and Danny to be there for a really heavy dose of impact and output into the game, but a lot of that damage could really come from anywhere. And do you think that overall, actually, I mean, I've often believed that this unifier role that you definitely seem to be filling on the team of bringing the team into a coherent line is extremely valuable, especially in this high-level competitive environment. Do you think that's fair to say as well?
Yeah, that's fair. Like, you know, everyone else is good at getting the kills. I'm great at dying and then yelling over everyone else, being like, "They killed me there. Go there."
It's really good to hear as well, especially. Something that I think we saw a bit of a struggle, especially on the first map for your opponents, was quite the opposite of that, whereby as we got deeper down the stretch, they started to stop believing in themselves and they started to stop being okay with facing a bit of a struggle.
I was being a bit BM on purpose because I knew.
Well, I think that's
Bafu.
That passion for the game is what we like, though. We love to see that. We love to see the
I know, the
care for the game and the emotion coming through from the players. It really does make an exciting matchup like this just all the more exciting to watch. And I gotta say, this was an absolutely fantastic game, both to cast and to analyze, and it's so lovely to speak with the players afterwards. What a beautiful game of Counter-Strike it was.
What a series!
Beautiful. What a series.
Indeed.
A series, one might say, yes, indeed.
I suppose we're going to wrap things up on the caster desk here for now then, and we're going to say this was an absolutely beautiful day of Counter-Strike played here today. Some beautiful games. Any of you two have anything else you want to say to the people at home before we sign things up and wrap things off?
Please make sure to check out our sponsors at R1 Skins, Jujutsu Shenanigans on Roblox, Avalor on Minecraft. Yeah,
Need
also
more
that.
Yuri. Become more lesbian now.
I would also like to thank the URA, Umamusume Racing Association, for providing us with the funds to buy this server and host the series. And that's a wrap.
And thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, we're going to be here all day, every day, for the rest of the year with non-stop Counter-Strike action 24/7. Don't you dare go anywhere. Thank you all for coming out to the stream today. It has been a pleasure.
Please
and with
help me get these chains on.
I say good night.